Last year, I also got a chance to call a game for the man that is the coach of Georgia Tech. Got a chance to chat with him for like an hour and a half the day before the game and listen to everything that's going on at Georgia Tech. They've turned around from being a triple option to a pro-style offense in the ACC, bringing in all of Atlanta. The man that was tasked with that, the head coach of the Georgia Tech football squad, ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Collins.
Yeah! Boy, Jeff!
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey,
I try to do it for the brand, baby.
I like the sleeveless. You look amazing.
Yeah.
Right now, incredibly crazy times. You've been a coach for a long time. Obviously, we're in the middle of a very different world right now. The conversation about college football is obviously a lot of question marks. How have you been keeping all that distraction out of your locker room? How have you been keeping that out of your mission? What has it been like talking to your team with the time that we're in right now?
Yeah, well, I don't think you keep it out of it. I think we talk about it every single day, over and over and over, different ways, different layers, different messaging, different groups, team meetings, Zoom meetings, position meetings, our cohorts that we are divided up into, the coaches that run that, keeping that conversation alive. And our guys have done a great job with it. Our coaching staff has done an amazing job with it. And just keeping that going, keeping the narrative, understanding the situation that we're in, the protocols that our medical professionals and our health staff has put together for us, and the guys have done a great job with it.
Okay, whenever I talk to your players, they love the environment that you built down there. Absolutely loved it. I mean, every single player to a man was like, hey, whenever coach got here, this entire building changed. Music blasting throughout the entire place. I mean, it's just like they feel like they go in there and have a good time. I assume some of that has to change now, right? Because there's groups that come in. Have you been able to keep up with your culture that you're trying to build while having to maintain with all these medical guidelines?
Well, I think the biggest part of the culture is the love, trust, and the relationships. That piece is never going to change. Those have even gotten stronger, even when we were away from each other. The relationship piece, the communication piece, that's even gotten stronger. Now, a typical Georgia Tech practice is completely different now. We're usually two spots, and there's 60 guys going at once, and there's mayhem and chaos and music and all kinds of insanity. We're not doing that now. We've got safety loops painted all over the sidelines. There's like 220 safety loops painted 6 feet apart. And if they're not in a safety loop, that's when the chaos ensues, because we got to keep these guys apart while we're doing the practices, while we're doing our work. The music, because we're having to train them how a game is going to work. Typically, you just play music all the time because in between the plays, there's going to be crowd noise. Now we're doing it exactly how we'll do it during games, where when the play ends, we crank the music up. Then right when the quarterback gets his hands ready, we kill the music and it's dead silence until the play's over. So we're training our guys how a game day environment's going to be in this day and time.
Yeah, because you got to keep them hyped, because music does a big music not only helps people deal with sound and things like that, it's also a little boost of energy whenever some heater comes on, a throwback heater comes on. It's like a lift to the entire team, but it's going to probably be pretty empty stadiums that you're playing in, so it's like a kind of a fine balance there. Let's talk about what you're hearing about the season, though, Coach, shall we? Because we are all hearing the conversations that are happening everywhere. Coaches in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are obviously up in arms because they weren't able to talk or say anything, but their medical experts are making decisions. Down there in the ACC, have you just been focusing on football and you let the athletic director and everybody else figure it out, or have you been a part of those conversations as well?
Well, the conversations are had. We've met as an SEC head coaches group every single week since the start of the pandemic and the quarantining. So there's constant communication. Our athletic director, Todd Stansberry, does a great job, the communication piece. I literally talked to him right after I got off the practice field today, walking back over here, so that there is constant communication. And just the big thing with us, and one of the core philosophies in our program, is control what we can control. So every day I come in, what's the situation that we're allowed to function in? What are the best health and safety practices? What are the protocols? What can we improve on? That is the daily focus. If they're allowing us to progress, then we're going to progress safely, healthy, and make sure our guys are following the proper protocol so we do this thing the right way. And then back to music, Pat, real quick. So we have Techno Tuesdays. And like that. So Techno Tuesdays. And then we have ATL Wednesdays, and that's what we had today. It's every single artist has to be from the ATL, from the 404, and we keep that rolling on Wednesdays. Thursdays, I won't get into that. It's really good music. And then Fridays, we play a little soul, some blues. That's our Friday playlist. And then game day, put the ball down, and it is on.
Hey, you guys got White Boy Thursday. That's awesome. That's what I just heard. Okay, no big deal. You don't have to say it. I'll say it. The team down there with you guys, you're a young team. You were a young team last year because you were transitioning out of the triple option. You're into the pro style, which, by the way, not an easy thing to do in college football because you have to change every position. I think your biggest offensive lineman was like 260 or something because in triple option they got to move. D linemen were tiny. You were basically tasked with overhauling that entire thing to become a more explosive, exciting offense and recruit everything. And you're going to rely on a lot of patience from the athletic director to be like, hey, once I get my guys in there, how do you feel about your young group? How do you feel about the squad that you have? And does it feel like, hey, Georgia Tech, we're getting to a place where you're pretty excited about it?
Yeah, I'm excited every day I come to work with these guys. The culture is really, really good. I think there's some stat that we've got the most returning production in the country, and that goes back that we had to play a lot of young guys yet last year. They did a really good job. The leadership piece, the culture piece, the foundation piece is really good. We signed one of the top 2 recruiting classes in Georgia Tech football history. Ooh. The defensive line that we signed goes 6'6", 6'6", 6'5", 6'4.5". Our offensive line that we signed goes 6'7", 6'6", 6'6", 6'5", 6'4". We've gained on average 18 pounds per man across the offensive line. We've gained 17 pounds per man across the defensive line. Those kind of things are huge in the development, but the attitude, the mindset, the work ethic, even though we have a ton of fun, and you've been around us, we work really, really, really hard. And they give great effort. We're a culture built on effort, and the guys understand when we get out on that field, we're going 1,000 miles an hour. We're going to do it safely. We're going to follow protocols. Once we're done, we're going to recover. We're going to regen, and then we're going to handle ourselves the right way in the community at one of the top 4 academic schools in the country.
I love that you have a group that work hard and play hard, right? And last year I got a chance to see the team put on. I mean, it was a great game to get, and maybe I should call every game that you guys have down there. But what I would agree with that. But I learned that all of Atlanta's buying in on Georgia Tech. And Atlanta is one of, obviously, the most influential cities in the country for everything. Anytime Atlanta gets involved, everybody knows, like, hey, big voices are being talked about here. Atlanta's buying into Georgia Tech. Now, everybody knows it's normally a Bulldog state, but you got Waffle House down there. You got Coke down there. Yep, there's a cup. Waffle House cup. You got it. You got Turner down there. You got a lot of companies that are based down there. In this name, image, likeness thing that's coming to fruition, Atlanta is obviously our already popular city. Plus, you have a lot of companies that want Atlanta's Georgia Tech to do well. And I've been talking about this for a couple months after talking to you. I was like, hey, what they got going on in Georgia Tech and the setup in Georgia Tech with his name, image, likeness, and the offense that they're doing and the recruiting ability and knowledge that Jeff Collins has, Georgia Tech's going to be a monster in a few years. And that is basically what you told us. Can you break that down a little bit on why people have called me an idiot when I said, I'm like, no, I believe it 1,000%. I really do.
And so do I. I've had a dream. I've had a vision of what this place can be, what this place is supposed to be. Pat, you sat in my office right here. When you literally look right outside the office, that was a nice little flex right there, Pat. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, good flex.
Right outside the office, the world headquarters of Coca-Cola is literally right there. And then you've got AT&T, you've got Georgia Pacific, you've got Southern Company, you've got Accenture, you've got all of these companies. Chick-fil-A is right here in our backyard. The internship piece is huge for our guys. The amount of guys that do internships in the off season, the amount of guys that did internships during a global pandemic when all of us were quarantined, they were still able to do their internships. Those kind of things add real value to what we're able to sell and the guys that we're able to attract. The education piece, the academic piece is unparalleled in major college football. And then you also embody the culture that is Atlanta, that is our locker room. I mean, there were more movies filmed in the state of Georgia than in Hollywood last year. So the entertainment piece, the music piece, all of those things intertwine. at a junction that's right here in downtown Atlanta. We embrace it. We take pride in it, and we coach our guys. We love our guys, and we're going to maximize every single thing that they can do for their exposure, for their brand, for their life after football. All of those things are rolled up into one, and that's the reason why Georgia Tech is going to be back to the top of college football where we belong.
Hey, you're a Georgia boy, aren't you?
I am. I'm born 8 miles east of here.
So this is a big, like, you can feel the passion, because I assume whenever you're coaching at other places, you're looking at Georgia Tech, which is your hometown basically, and you're like, that school should be. Then you get the gig, and now you're getting a chance to experience it. That has to be pretty cool. I mean, that's a pretty cool thing to happen.
Yeah, 100%. I still remember being a young guy. They used to play a Georgia Tech versus a school that's 72 miles outside of Atlanta that we play. That's our in-state rival. That game used to be played right here on Thanksgiving Day, the JV game, and I would sit right up in those stands and watch the game. Then we would go home to my grandma's house, have Thanksgiving dinner. We'd play the Turkey Bowl, and I'd win it, a little plaque with a little wishbone on it, and just dream of what this place can be, what this place should be, what this place will be, and I take a lot of pride in it.
Hell yeah!
I tell you, I talked. Didn't I?
You said it.
I said, hey man, this guy has a real passion for the school. He understands the weapons it has, and he is an incredible recruiter. I mean, at Temple, have you seen the athletes that come out of Temple here lately? He was there with Matt Rule, with everybody up there. Diggs, what do you got?
Coach, you were just talking about that school that's also in Georgia, and I was looking at your schedule, and I believe every ACC team is playing their conference schedule and then one non-conference. And I saw yours is UCF. So how did you guys decide, or how was it decided that UCF was going to be your non-conference game versus a school like the other school in Georgia, and how did that go?
Well, I think that was a decision made outside of our conference, so we didn't have any control over that. The 10+1, I believe, was set so that those games could be played. For whatever reason, they were deemed they weren't going to play those. So then we look at our schedule, and competition is king in our program. We want to compete, and UCF has had a great run. I've coached there in the past with Coach O'Leary, who just got inducted into the Georgia Tech Hall of Fame. But UCF, really good team, have done really well. We want to make sure we're playing the best teams that we can possibly play. And so our athletic director, our administration, was able to keep that game on our schedule. Great players, great coaches, and then along with the other 10 games that we'll play in the ACC, we're really excited about it. Our guys are fired up to compete, and we just got to continue to follow the protocols, take it phase by phase, step by step, do it the right way to give us a chance.
How the hell is that going to happen? Hey, Coach, let's have a real-life conversation about college kids, because the pictures have hit the internet from Tuscaloosa, from North Georgia. You're hearing in Notre Dame 149 positive cases. They're locking kids back into their houses, doing online tuition. I believe North Carolina's doing the same. Mac Brown actually came out and said, well, if everybody's going to be inside, that's actually good for us because we can keep the bubble thing. How are you setting forth hey, we need to be very accountable here. We need to be very loyal to each other here, because it's not just the players, by the way. It's GAs, it's athletic trainers, it's equipment managers. It's that entire building buying in. How is that going to happen? Because a lot of people are like, college football can happen, but if you look at campuses in general, it doesn't look like that's going to be a positive experience. How does the football team do it? How is it going to work?
Yeah, and the guys have done a great job so far just controlling what we can control, using the messaging, using lessons learned from other places to make sure our guys understand what we have to do when we get out into the classroom setting, whether it be in setting, a hybrid, or in virtual world. When we're out on campus, how we have to maintain our bubble, our personal bubble, protect our team's bubble, and then also the marketing piece, making sure that we're out there on social media talking about wearing a mask, talk about maintaining social distance. If you came out to the plaza, I don't know if you remember, Pat, there's a huge jumbotron outside of our stadium, and it faces down the Yellow Jacket Alley where some of the fraternities and sororities are. We had them put up however big that thing is, billboard of me wearing a mask, saying, wear your mask at Coach Collins. If you drive down 7585, there's a huge Georgia Tech digital billboard. Again, it's my face up there, covered up. And maybe the mask has been good for me because I get to cover this thing up. It's out there. So the messaging, so whenever the young people, the students that are on campus, at least they're seeing the message as well. Wear a mask. Our president, Dr. Cabrera, has set up places where they can get PPEs all over campus. They can get testing all over campus. So those steps are being implemented, and it's going to take all of us to be able to have success with this. It's going to take a collective, and, hopefully we can use our influence for the greater good, for our campus, for our community, and even for the city.
It'll be awesome if it happens, man. I cannot wait to watch. I am happy that you joined us. I love talking to you the day before the game. I've enjoyed talking to you today. You're electric. Can't wait to see what you do with Georgia Tech, and can't wait to see how these guidelines, protocols are implemented throughout this entire semester so we can have football season. It's going to be tough, but I'm excited to see you guys pull it off. I appreciate you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. And the sun's out, the guns are out. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Have it, Coach. Good luck down there. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach of Georgia Tech, Jeff Collins. Thank you.
Yeah, Jeff. Woo!
He seems very positive that football is going to happen.
Yeah.
And that guy is a guy that's in conversation every single day, he said, with the ACC. Now, granted, whatever happens on campus is definitely going to dictate what happens in the football world, but I told you, by the way, hey,
Yeah.
the passion that he had
Chills during.
for Atlanta was so real when he was talking to